Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Bava Daf Kuf Yudalit. This was the Daf we learned in Shabbos, just recording it as a review for review purposes. We started, the place we stopped in the previous Daf was a little bit in the middle of the Sugya. We should have gone a few lines down. So we'll start from there. It says the Gemara, Amar Rova, Man Mishtakach Kuf Yugimel base, about 10 lines from the bottom. The one who is in the field, he has to pay the taxes. What does it mean? Rashi says that there's a few partners, and some of them already went back to the city. And there's one who is in the field. The tax collector comes to the field, he takes from him, and then the one in the field will go back to his partners and take from them back the money. That's only a shut of a partner. If it's a sharecropper, he doesn't have to take care of the taxes, he's a sharecropper. Meaning if the tax collector comes to the city, he can't find a person, he can take the taxes from a different person, and he will go back to the tax collector was looking for. That's only land taxes and personal taxes. The high shata of that year. If it was the previous year, we'll be Mefayas Malko Cholif. Because the king was Mefayas as Cholif. We shouldn't argue, does the pshat is that the king doesn't care about the previous year, or because, as Rashi says, the tax collector already paid the king, so it's really a tax collector thing, not a king thing. The goyim that are grazing the animals in the tchum, now take it for them. My time should because the animals of the Yisrael are among them. You'll have to take for them because it's only a goy. When you buy them out, if the owners are running after it, saying no, our animals outside the city, still asur. So that's what we're supposed to get to in the previous daf. So now we're starting. Rov announced, the Salkin Leil was announced to the people that are going to Eretz Yisrael and going to Bava. There's a Yisrael who knows a testimony for a goy. He knows that there's another Jew who owes money to the goy. This loy tolemine, the Hagoy say over here, that is an addition of the censorship. So we talk about the goy is demanding the money from the Jew. So Reuben owes money to a goy, Shimon knows about it. He went and testified against his friend. Shimon testified against Reuben that he owes money to the goy. His friend is his friend. They put it in here. My time they're going to take out the money based on one witness, which we don't do. You can't use. You're going to take money from a Jew based on one witness. It's only if you have one witness. I will betray if you have two witnesses, then it's okay. It's only din de megista, meaning the Rashi says it's the people of the villages that don't know how to do dinim. Or another Rashi, it says people that do it b'chazaka, they force things not based on law. But if it's the shilton, it's the main government, they only do a shul on one person. For one aid, they just do a shul. So therefore, it's really like the Yisrael do it. We were in the house of Ravuna, and we asked the question. You have Adam Chashuv, they're really, these Goyish courts, they don't take money out from based on a testimony of one. But what happens if the person who's testifying is Adam Chashuv? And they rely on him. So they take money based on him, and therefore he's not allowed to testify. Or maybe if he's not going to be able to get away from it. They know these Adam Chashuv, he knows an Eidos, he's not going to be able to get away. He's not like a regular person who could somehow disappear. So more take, we're not sure what's the thing. Person who sells a land to a goy next door to the land of another Yisrael. My time, because the Din Bar we have the Din Bar Matzah Shigalum Beis Hashem next Galum Beis Hashem in Bava that Bar Matzah, the idea if Reuben has the land next to Shimon, he has to give the first right to sell the land to Shimon, not to anybody else. V'amar ma is nobody me'akev, is nobody me'akev is selling to a goy or buying from a goy, lake mishudim bar mitzvah, there's no din bar mitzvah over there. When we get to Mitzvah, we'll learn why. So that's not the problem. Now, the really arbis le arayo am mitzray. I would probably put a lion on my border. Why did you bring a goy to my border? You put a lion on my border. Mishatina put in cherem the kabila le kol unse the basim chavasei. Put in cherem until the Jew who sells it accept all the onions that come from the guy. And before you speak about it, is it a grama? It's obviously a grama. It's a gzir derabanan because he brought a goy on the border of his friend. So the Mishnah. So the tax collectors took a donkey, gave him a different donkey. They took his clothing, gave him different clothing. It says, because the original owner was Misiyash. Someone who saves from the river, from the guys from the army, from thieves. If you know that the Misiyash are Rishla, it seems to be a contradiction. Before we say we assume the owner was Misiyash, now we say we didn't. Rashi says the difference is if it's a Jew or a Goy, as the Gemara is going to address something else later. You have a swarm of bees. In Yusyashu, if the Bailam gave up on it, you can take this swarm. A woman or child, let's say, we see where the bee swarm came from. I'll tell you who it belongs to. The Gemara is going to ask, how can you trust? How do you do edus based on Isha Koto? A person can go into the field of his friend to save his bees. If he did any damage, he's not allowed to break. Rashi says over here sukkah, an actual sukkah, or Rashi Leil said, we're going to see the Gemara, where sukkah means a branch of a tree. Don't break the branch, in order to pay. In other words, if the bees are all on a branch, don't cut the branch in order to pay the branch. You can even do it intentionally. Cut a branch and give the dummy. So according to the first mandamar, but mistake he did it as a gipet. But now you can't do it l'chatchila. And according to you could do it even l'chatchila. So the Gemara. If he did take the donkey or the ksus or from the tax collector, he has to pay back to the original owner. He holds yush, doesn't quite. If you want to give back, he give back to the original owner. My time yush is kohen. If he still wants to be a chassid, I don't want to take money that doesn't belong to me, he gives back to the Bailam Mishayim. So it seems that the Bryce is arguing, is yush kohen or not kohen? That's what it seems to be. In the Mishnah, how you explain the Mishnah? The Mishnah says that the Bailam are Misiyash. So since the Mishnah goes like one of the Bryces. But if you look at Rashi said in the Mishnah that it's yush v'shini rishus. So how does that fit with our Gemara? It doesn't say shini rishus, only yush. So the Acharim discuss it, and the Acharim, there's two main cheetahs in the Acharim how to understand cheetahs Rashi. Either the Gemara, when it says yush, it means yush v'shini rishus, not only yush. Or it's that the Rashi meant shini rishus was lav davka. It meant it was a yush. Yush is not enough. When a person steals, even though the owner is Misiyash, he still has to pay it. But once it goes from the ganav to another person, that person is not obligated if there was a yush. That's what it means shini rishus. Not the kingdom of shini rishus, but the obligation to pay as a ganav. So that's what someone will say according to Rashi. Other Rishonim have different discussions over here. Does, according to the Brisa that says that you don't have to give it back, can the owner force him to give him can he pay for it and take it back or not? The Rishita survived, he could do that. And others want to say that the case over here, that the yush works is really machlikas we have a next staff, that the shinu rishus came before the yush. It changed possession, and then there was yush, and we'll speak about Be'ez Hashem in tomorrow's daf, that shita. Says the Gemara, really should be shabayim sashim him, or mavash l'shonu listim, or v'kachom, dafka if it's a goy. Aval listim yisrael loy, so not, so machanek tina lebidino. Tomorrow I'm going to run after the goy and catch him. I'll go after Yisrael and catch him. The opposite makes sense. If you go to a goy, go into the goy and go to the police, they're gonna catch him and they're gonna punish him until he pays back. Doesn't have yush. Yisrael came on that all Yisrael does is pay him back. They can't enforce it. Or Rashi says they will look for 80. Miyash, he has more yush. Say for that, Tafka the Bailim did yush. Stom Aloy, but if you don't know what they did, so then you assume there's no yush. Loy Shono Lakum should have died in the beginning. Tafka Hakum that are doing that they enforce it. So therefore you assume if you don't know the Bailim Misyashim, you should assume the Bailim not Misyash. Because they just say they can't enforce it, Miyash is a Yash. In other words, it's different between going Yisrael. Says Rashi in the Mishnah, the ratio of the Mishnah speak about Yisrael. That's where there's a Yush. The same with the Mishnah speak about a guy. That's where there is no Yush unless you hear it. Now also we learn over there, or Yush Ba'abais, hides of Ba'abais, Machshovet Tamosel, meaning the Ba'abais thought, take the hides and keep as they are, make a mat out of it, not use it for shoes or anything, it becomes tum. Shalom, the wholesaler who sells it to the market, in Machshovet Tamosel, the Machshovet doesn't make it tum because he still may change if his machshava doesn't make a difference, he wants to sell, and the buyer will make a decision. Shegazlon ein machshava tamasom, v'shegon machshava tamasom. Gazlon takes it outright, so machshava is not metamet. Why? Because the owner thinks, I'm going to get it back. I know who stole it, I'll get it back. But a ganav, you don't know who it is. So he may let the machshava of the ganav is metamet. Makes it kosher kabel tumu. Makes the, just to clarify, when a kli is finished, it gets tumu. When it's still in the middle of the process, it doesn't get tumu. Shaila is if the owner thinks, I want this to be the end. There's no more. I don't want to do anything else with it. Does it make kabel tumu or not? Or he's saying your machshava doesn't make a difference. So he's saying Gazlon, the owner is coming back to take it. Your machshava doesn't make a difference. Ganov is misyash. Your machshava makes a difference. The opposite. Shegazlon machshava tamosom. Gazlon, the owner is not. He gives up. This guy is so brazen. He's willing to come and steal it right in front of his face. So you'll never get it back. Shagar and Machshavat Tamasom, if you show Yisyash Shabai, the Bailam still thinking we'll get it back to it. But like this, where is the Bailam Yisyash? Kind of a Gazan. It's a beautiful Chazanish that explains every time someone loses something, he's stolen, it's gone away, a person has two feelings in his heart. On one hand, he has the hope he may get it back. On the other hand, he says it probably won't come back. The question, when you have these two feelings clashing, which one is stronger? And that's the machlekes over here. Ganav is strong, the yush is stronger than the hope, and Gazlan the opposite, or vice versa. Machlekes b'stam. This machlekes is only b'stam, meaning that we don't know what happened. We don't know if the guy was yash or not. I will be a dua if we know that the owner was yash. Of course, yush works. Even if you know yush is going. Why? Because we're assuming he said this was yash, but really that feeling of hope is still there. Don't argue now we must think of a say. We have a Mishnah like him. Because we didn't, in our Mishnah, it says that Bailam not Misyash. I didn't hear them Misyash. If you heard clearly Misyash, Harei L'Shalai, then it is good. We have a different gear so. Now they're not Misyash, but that there's no Yush over here. Even if they said they are Misyash, it's still not Yush. It says by us regarding our Mishnah, it says the donkey. And it says that he gave it, there's a Yush. So the more understands what it says in the Mishnah, listim and moichsim. Listim is a ganav. Moichsim is a gazlan, outright. So what we're saying in both cases, there is a yush. Irabon kasha gazlan. If one holds the gazlan, there's no yush. Irabshin kasha ganav. He holds the ganav, there's no yush. It says everybody that we know that if he said it's koinem. I have to say that our Mishnah is talking about Yadu, not like Rashi said. Talk about that we know there's Misyash. According to Rabbo, even by Yadua, he says it's still Machlekes. We speak about Ganav and Gazlan, we see the same thing for both. It says more listim is talk about an armed Ganav. That's the listim. And therefore he has a din of a Gazlan. And who is it? Shimon either holds, he gives up. Yachi, I knew Gazlan, so we said Gazlan. Trey Gavin Gazlan, there's a Gazlan who was an armed robber, doing a hiding, and there's a Gazlan who was outright. Toshma another right. It says a Ganov, Gazlan, V'onos. So Ganov, someone who steals hiding with Gazlan, does it outright. Ha'onos, who does it gives money. Hegdeshim, Hegdesh. If they do Hegdesh, it's Hegdesh, Shumos, Shumo. Umasur, so Meiser. They can do Hegdesh, Shumo, and Meiser. Meaning that's theirs. Mali. Yerabon and Kasha Gazlan, Kurabon and Gazlan, Yinam Misyash. You have Shir Kasha Ganav, Ganav Yinam Misyash. If he said clearly it's koine, we're talking about yadur. According to everybody, it's koine. And the Rabbi don't be yadur. I'm still machlekes. Hamani, same question before. It's like same answer. Talking about an armed robber who's coming quietly. Rabbi Shimon, that's what Shimon holds that he's not Messiah. He is Messiah. Yachaynu Gazlan, that's Gazlan. Trigavni Gazlan. V'yibaisib, another answer. Hamastis, so this Bryce is Rebbe. It's just Rebbe. Tani Rebbe Oimer, Ganav Ki Gazlan. Ganav and Gazlan the same thing. Says when of Kudav on base, the Kaimlan Ki Gazlan of Shimon, talk about his Gazlan like of Shimon, that there is Kainid, that there is Yush. Now, where is that? So the Gemara is going to speak about it right now. Very interesting thing now, because the Gemara is going to bring the discussion regarding Rebbe and bring the same rise we just brought. Seemingly, these two Gemaras will mention two different Patemetrish. Says the Gemara. Kuva Rebbe Oimer Ganav Ki Gazlan. Ganav is like a Gazlan. Ibayilu Ki Gazlan der Rabbanan Kalmar. V'lo Koine mean Ganav is like a Gazlan, and he's not Koine. Or Idilu Ki Gazlan der Shimon Kalmar B'Koine. In other words, they're both Koine, both not Koine. Toshma, the Gemara brings the rise I said before. Not told Mochsim Chamor, they took his donkey, our Mishnah. Mani Rabbanan Kasha Gazlan, Rabbi Shimon Kasha Ganav. Our Mishnah even explained. We talk about Moiches is a Gazlan, at least it was a Ganav. You want Bishul Rebbe Ki Gazlan, Rabbi Shimon Kalmar. Rebbe at least says the Ganav and Gazlan are both Koine. The Kani Amani Rebbe, that's Rebbe. Shuvachikani. Eliyahu Ki Gazlan, the Rabbanan Kalmar. Rebbe holds that the Ganav and Gazlan both, there's no Yush. So nobody holds the both Yush. There's no sheet in our Mishnah. It's going to see the answer. Talk about an armed robber. If you have Shimon, that's what Shimon, the Gazlan and the Listim have the same thing. Yachainu Gazlan, that's Gazlan. So, well, you're right. Trey Gavni Gazlan. Exact same Shakmatar we had no Medalef. Toshra, another right. Haganav Gazlan, the same price of honest. Kind of hiding the Gazlan outright. Honest pays money. They Hegdish Chumas Truma, Meiser Meiser, they can do Hegdish Truma and Meiser. Man, who is it? You're a born Kasha Gazlan. Because they hold the Gazlan not great. If Shimon Kasha Ganav, he holds, Ganav is not great. You hold Bishuma Ganav Ki Gazlan, the Shimon Koma. If you want to tell me the Rebbe holds the Ganav and Gazlan the same, they're Koine and Mishuach Kani. Eliyahu Ganav Ki Gazlan, the Rabban Amani. Hamani, who is it? This is not Rabban, not Shimon, not Rebbe. So the more again, but at least in Missouri, we have Shimon he. Yachim Ainu Gazlan, that's Gazlan. Trey Gav no Gazlan. So similar to Shakavatara, the Gemara comes to just saying we have no Raya Hechrech, but for now, but we may say it's Rebbe. Only Rav Ashley, Rav Toshma, bring a clear Raya. The Mabdi Rebbe Lev Shimon Rebbe told his son, we learned earlier, when the father died and he left the kids Achrayus, they have to pay. What's Achrayus? Doesn't mean Karka. You have a cow who he's plowing with. A donkey who is using to carry. You have to return because of the code of the father. Not because of the code of the father. They didn't have to give it back. Why? There's no yush. No. You see, there is a yush. Gazlan and Ganav, there is a yush. They didn't have to give it back. But if there's code of the you have to give it back because the people should not be mizals and say, look at the father who stole. But if not, Ganav and Gazlan, there is a yush. Says the Gemara. Talk about the swarm of bees. What do you bring around from the bees? What does that have to do with the Mishnah? Bees, the Gemara says, the owner doesn't own them. Because there's no kidding, they always fly away. It's like doves that we have in the Gemara Beitza. It's only only the Rabbanon. They cut it late. People say in this case it's not a real kinyan, so he gives up hope quicker. If he didn't give up hope, the bees still belong to the owner. That a woman and a child can testify on the bees. Can they testify? Talk about the key fact that the owners are running after them. And the kids is not testifying. They're just saying a story. Here, the bee came out of here. Rashi said, just saying, Mesech V'tumah means he didn't testify, he just said a story. That only works by Eidus Isha to say that her husband died. What about our case, about the swarm of bees, they can say it? Shari Nochel Shadvorim says the Gemara, the Kinyan Derabonanu. It's not his. So that's what they can only the Rabbanan belongs to him. That's why the Isha Kota can testify. Same over Deraisa Loi, if it's a Din Deraisa not. The Gemara is now going to bring two cases that we have in the Seches Ksuvis, Tav Chavov. There's a story the person said, when I was a child, I would be on the shoulder of my father. He said to me out of school, with Shituni is Kutante, took out my clothing. He'd be looting the Chol Trum Lev, and I ate Trum in the evening. Added another more to the story. What did he say? My friends didn't get close to me. The Rebbe said, don't be close to him. They said, Yochanan, you eat chalas. No, they have to be tower. So all the friends were not koyanim. The Rebbe did not let him to touch him. He just said the story on his own. Even Rebbe trusted him to make him a kohen. So you see that the Seder Vituma works for Deraiso. Says, what about Truma Derabon? Talk about Yedim, give it to you, only Truma Derabon. It's only Derabon, not Deraiso. That Kati Deraiso loyal, so Deraiso we say no. That Kiyasu of Dimi Yoma of Chano Kartigo. Dimi said Dimi Chano Kartigo. Kartigno, sorry. Apparently, Achol Kartigno Mishtoy. I think they said a story. Maisebo, if you should believe, there's a story here for Shulevi. Apparently, Maisebo, if you read, or in front of Rebbe, Betino Kechot Shabbos Tevitum as a child who was saying a story. What was the story? We were both captured by the Goyim. We were both hostages. I went to draw water. I was always thinking about my mother. I was always making sure my mother was okay. Little Kudates would take wood. I was always thinking about my mother, making sure my mother was okay. And Rebbe trusted him for her to marry a Kohen. So Mesirah Vituma works. Says the more B'Shvuya Kill. We make a B'Shvuya because B'Shvuya, the thing is, we assume that probably nothing wrong happened, and therefore we're more Mekel in that case. So don't cut off the branch of the tree or the sukkah to save the bees. We saw that earlier when the Gemara spoke about the takanas of Yeshua. So we said, we quoted this. Tonight, a person can go into the field of his friend, take koitzets, sukkah takes out the sukkah or the branch of his friend, to take his bees. You will pay for the sukkah, for the branch or the sukkah from the bees, because the bees are worth more. Person should throw out his wine and save the honey, which is more expensive. He takes the wine out of the honey. A person should remove the wood and let it get lost. He takes the flax, the linen of his friend, in order to save it. And you'll take the 18 from the linen, from the pishtar of his friend. That's one of the Tanoim Yeshua Binun gave Eretz Yisrael to Am Yisrael. Meaning what? Meaning when a person sees that his friend is having a big loss, and he's able to sacrifice a little bit of his loss, a little bit of his property to save his friend, should he do it or not? Yeshua Tanoim, you should do it. And we can learn by the Yeshua next daf, because we have a Mishnah that seems to contradict this. There's a Machlekes Rif in the Rosh. Rif learns this is not la halacha, because the Mishnah will say differently later. The Rosh said it is la halacha. We're talking about here that a person can go and tell the owner of the honey, can demand from the owner of the wine to break the wine and take the honey. The owner of the honey can do it. But if the owner of the honey, of the wine does it on its own, so then in Chirami, it's the owner of the wine cannot do it on his own. Be'ez Hashem, we'll talk about it more when we get to the next stuff. Kol Tov.